In those days, a decree went out from Emperor Augustus that all the world should be registered. This was the first registration and was taken while Quirinius was governor of Syria. All went to their own towns to be registered. Joseph also went from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to the city of David called Bethlehem, because he was descended from the house and family of David. He went to be registered with Mary, to whom he was engaged and who was expecting a child. While they were there, the time came for her to deliver a child, and she gave birth to the firstborn, a son, and wrapped him in bands of cloth and laid him in a manger, because there was no place for them in the inn. In that region, there were shepherds living in the fields, keeping watch over their flock by night. Then an angel of the Lord stood before them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid, for see, I am bringing you good news of great joy for all the people. To you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, who is the Messiah, the Lord. This will be a sign for you. You will find a child wrapped in bands of cloth and lying in a manger." And suddenly there was an angel with a multitude of heavenly hosts praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest heaven, and on earth peace."
Good evening, everyone. Our chalice lighting this evening is by Renee Ruchotske. The Holy Dwells in Each of Us. On this holy night, we gather to honor the sacred among us. We light this chalice to remind us that eternal love dwells in our hearts. We light this chalice to remind us that the Spirit of life dwells among us as we gather as a faith community. May this flame remind us the arc of the universe needs our embodied love and faith to bend toward justice. And will you please stand we're going to sing another hymn, Angels We Have Heard on High, number 231.
Good evening. I am delighted to share with you a reading called Let the Faithful Come by Zetta Elliott. When a bright star shines on a dark, silent night, let the faithful come. From places high and low, across deserts and over seas, let the faithful follow that glorious star. Let them come. And as they travel from near or far, let fear and anger empty from their hearts. Let them be filled with peace as the night sky is filled with radiant light. Let them come. As they gather on this sacred journey, let them embrace one another with compassion. Let them comfort the weary and aid the weak. Let them stand together in patient expectation. And when they enter that lowly place, let them bow their heads with humble hearts. Let them gaze upon the child with adoration and know that God is alive in this world. For on this night, a child is born. And within this child, in every child, God has planted a seed. From this seed shall grow a mighty tree, its boughs laden with the fruit of peace and love. But first, the seed must be nourished, the child cared for tenderly, just as a fragile sapling is coaxed from the soil and supported, so must hope be brought into this world, our most precious harvest. When this night has passed and the brilliant star fades before the soft dawn, Let the faithful return to their homes with hearts cleansed and uplifted. Let them rejoice. Let their songs ring golden like bells in the sun, so that all who still slumber will wake and rise. Let the faithful come. Please remain seated as we sing, O Come, All Ye Faithful.
Our reading, Use Your Inside Voice by Reverend Victoria Stafford. I have an old December memory, many decades old, that comes to me at this time of year, especially if there's snow. It's like an old Christmas card or treasure ornament. You hold it in your hands and it works like a time machine, transporting you back to a universe so far from where you are right now, and yet so familiar, you can feel the scratchy wool and smell the mothball mittens. In this memory, my father and I are all bundled up and together. After supper, late at night, probably around 6:30, we're going for a walk outside, just the two of us, without my mother or my brothers, and I'm maybe 5 or 6 years old, and we're going to look at the holiday lights in our neighborhood. It's magical. Everything is silent because of the snow on the ground and the snow falling down. and silent also because of my hat and earmuff and scarf. There are no cars, so we walk down the middle of the street, a wide white corridor with no other footprints, and colored lights all the way down on both sides. Every house was like a silent diorama, with a Christmas tree or menorah in the window, and people moving their living rooms or kitchen, playing the piano, watching TV, like life-size dolls in a dollhouse. It was absolutely silent except for the scrunching of my jacket and snow pants, which I only noticed when we stopped to eat snow or count the plastic reindeer on a rooftop. And when we stopped, we stood in a frozen ocean of quiet. We went hand in hand, very tall, very small, not talking for miles and miles, hours and hours, all the way around the block. All these years later, all this life later, when I feel myself swept into the vortex of holiday expectation, the stress of noise and jangling, cheesy music everywhere, white-knuckle driving, and worrying about money and family and losses and love, whether I look for it or not, this memory returned to me, not just a snapshot image, but the visual traces of wonder I felt as a child that night, the deepest dark, the coldest cold, the thickest snow, my father fully present, which at other times he wasn't, the snug houses, the enchanted lights and silence. This is a memory of a very simple thing, a walk around the block after dinner. I don't really know what happened, if it's just once or many times, but I do know it set me in a longing in a December that has nothing to do with holiday frenzy, nothing whatsoever to do with shopping or theology. And if I can remember to remember it, this memory and dwell inside it, it centers me and anchors me and reminds me that what I love at this time of year and what I need is a cold night, very dark, a little snow, and maybe someone to go walking with. Please remain seated as we sing hymn 246, O Little Town of Bethlehem.
Our reading is from Reverend Megan Foley, and it's called More Than a Bike. You know how when you're a kid and it's close to Christmas, and adults don't really know how to talk to you, so they ask, "So what do you hope to get for Christmas?" This is actually a good question to ask a kid who celebrates Christmas because they're almost always bursting with the ideas of things they'd love to have. So it's generally a safe bet, if you don't know a kid, to make conversation by asking what they hope for under that tree. But one year, when I was about 9, I couldn't think of what I wanted for Christmas, at least not that one-word answer that adults seem to want. In fact, what I really wanted that year couldn't be put under a tree at all. I wanted to be treated like an adult. But unfortunately for me, my parents thought this was kind of ridiculous, and it was too difficult to explain to anyone. So I made up an answer. When adults asked me what I wanted for Christmas that year, I told them I wanted a bike. Not because I wanted a bike, mind you, just so I wouldn't have to talk about it anymore. So, what happened? The next night might not be a surprise to you. On Christmas morning, I woke up and came down to the tree, and what should I find? A bike. It was a good present overall. I was a lucky girl to get it. The thing was, I didn't know I would get a bike, and I didn't really want a bike. When I think back to that time, I resolved to do a couple of things, not just around Christmas time, but in all of my life. First, I'm careful about what I ask for. You might think I'm still talking about the stuff under the Christmas tree, but I'm talking about bigger stuff in my life, what I really want out of my life. What I am saying to people who ask me about what I want in my life, not just for Christmas, am I asking for that which seems normal, even though it doesn't reflect the real me? Am I taking this easy way out of the conversation? This is important because you never know who's paying attention. You don't, in life, want to be asking for something you don't really want, because there's a chance you might get it. There are plenty of voices in the world, for example, telling you how to live your life the right way, telling you what makes for success and what makes for happiness. Will you agree just because it's easier to? What will happen if you ask for the wrong thing and you get it? The other lesson I learned is that the things that you announce that you want have a way of finding you. If your heart is longing for something that seems silly or even impossible, and you can't imagine how you could possibly see that wish into reality, then it will help, I promise you, it will help if you start telling yourself and other people what you're hoping for. You don't have to know how it's going to work out. You probably won't say, "I want a bike," but you might say something like this: "I want more time with my kids. I want more time with my parents. I want to forgive my father. I want to live my life more simply. I wish I had more free time and just playtime. I want to devote my life to a cause that I've come to believe in. I want to tell my parents that the only subject I like in school is art. I want to do that work that has always called me, even though I've got education and experience doing something very different." So just say it. Just start by saying what you want and see what happens. It might not come out the way you expect it to, but I believe that wishes of the heart are answered one way or another. Try it and see what happens for you. Make sure, both at Christmas time and other times, that you ask for that which you really want. You may be very surprised one morning what you find under the tree and in your life. Will you please remain seated as we sing "We Three Kings"?
Oftentimes, throughout the year, we find ourselves as ministers discussing matters with families where they share that they need some extra financial help within this congregation. And sometimes, too, people from outside of our congregation come and ask us for financial support during times of need. And it's very important that we are able to fulfill these needs when we are asked. So we have something at our congregation called the Minister's Discretionary Fund. And your ministers are entrusted with this fund to ensure that those who are in need get the funds that they need. This is a very important thing. And the month of December, we have been sharing our plate with this fund. So as the offering baskets come around, or in a moment you'll see the ways to give on your screen, half of what we collect tonight will go to the Minister's Discretionary Fund. Thank you for your offerings. And if you look on the screen now, you can also see a way to give by phone or to give online. So I'd like to invite you now in the spirit of prayer to assume a position of reverence. Maybe close your eyes, get a little more comfortable in your seat. Great Spirit, within all things and beyond all things, we thank you for this time to worship together, this time to be together during the darkest time of the year. We're so grateful for the gift of community and the gift of life that we share with one another. Hear these words now from Italian friar and painter, Fra Angelico. This Christmas letter is said as a prayer. I salute you. I am your friend, and my love for you goes deep. There is nothing I can give you which you have not already, but there is much, very much, which though I cannot give, you can take. No heaven can come to us unless our hearts find rest in today. So take heaven. No peace lies in the future which is not hidden in this precious little instant. So take peace. The gloom of the world is but a shadow. Behind it, yet within our reach, is joy. There is radiance and courage in the darkness, could we but see it, and to see, we have only to look. Life is so generous a giver, but we, judging its gifts by their coverings, cast them away as ugly or heavy or hard. Remove the covering, and you will find beneath it a living splendor woven of love and wisdom and power. Welcome it, greet it, and you touch the angel's hand that brings it. Everything we call a trial, a sorrow, a duty, believe me, that angel's hand is there. The gift is there, and the wonder of an overshadowing presence. Our joys, too, be not content with them as joys. They, too, conceal diviner gifts. Life is so full of meaning and purpose, so full of beauty beneath its covering, that you will find earth but cloaks your heaven. Courage then to claim it, and that is all. But courage you have, and the knowledge that we are pilgrims wending through unknown country, our way home. And so at this Christmas time I greet you, not quite as the world sends greeting, but with profound esteem now and forever. The day breaks, and the shadows flee away. Amen.
We Are the Miracles Makers by Gwen Matthews. As December opened up before us, we welcome the gift of reflection. We turn toward our holiday celebration and search for common threads for meaning. We begin with Yule, the winter solstice, and we are invited to explore dualities, cycles, and seasons, and to witness the Holly King being overcome by the Oak King. Yule reminds us that we all partake in the miracle of renewal. Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights, commemorates a time of miracle when the faith of the Jewish people sustained them to reclaim their holy temple and keep the light of the menorah burning for 8 days. Christmas, the celebration of Jesus' humble birth in the manger, offer us to revisit the miracle of birth and the desire to find saviors to heal the scars of humanity. Here in our church, you are just as much a holiday miracle as the turning of the earth, as persistence and dedication to a faith, as the creation of new life. We see the love you give to others, the space you create to hold one another's joys and sorrows, and the generosity and the spirit you entrust to this community. You are the holiday miracles. This community is one of miracle makers. Okay. And now for our benediction, the words of Howard Thurman. Now the work of Christmas began. When the song of the angels is still, when the star in the sky is gone, when the kings and princes are home, when the shepherds are back with their flock, the work of Christmas began. To find the lost, to heal the broken, to feed the hungry, to release the prisoner, to rebuild nations, to bring peace among the people, and to make music in the heart. Now, as you're comfortable, please stand as we sing Silent Night. And because of the frigid temperature tonight, we remain inside.
We extinguish this light on this holy night, but carry it within our hearts to remind us of the sacred universal love that we are offered and that we offer each other in return. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Please join us for refreshments out in the hall, cookies and hot chocolate. And happy holidays all.